a little while, or do they just go ahead and get started?
I think they go ahead and get started.
Do they?
I haven't been in months. I think usually around, try to around.
I think I'm right.
6:30 on the dot now. Or at least this clock says it is.
Yeah, my clock, this thing was like, it's showtime. Hi, you guys. I don't know if I'm on. Comment if you see me. Please. Comment if you see me. Oh my goodness.
What is it?
It's a boy.
Oh, you finally got a boy.
Oh.
It's a good thing you waited a moment.
Wasn't there just a baby shower for you, and now all of a sudden baby's out? How fun is that? You guys, there's a baby in here. I'm so distracted.
That's why I was here.
It looks like we are on though.
How much does he weigh?
He was
Shut
8
up.
pounds and 9 ounces, and then when we left the hospital, he was 8 pounds and 4 ounces. But Daddy weighed him last night, and he's been 10 pounds even. So he was born on Monday.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, I am seeing comments. All right, perfect. So I see Victoria is online. I see Nikki from California is online. Hello there. Sherry's online. Maria's online. Joy Beth. I love you, Joy Beth. Wendy is online. So we have a baby. So we're a little distracted here. Little bitty baby. When was he born?
Last Monday, that's why I wasn't here.
Last Monday, you guys. Last Monday.
I was like, I need him to not be born on Friday so I could go to the women's Friday.
Hi, how are you? Good. A baby's here. A week-old baby. I know. Perfect. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Janny.
It was after midnight and my water broke. I was like, I'm not making it to Bible study.
Oh, y'all. She's telling the story of when her water broke. I'm sorry that none of y'all can hear that, but there's a baby. It's so funny because your name is Talitha, right? Talitha. Well, my name is Tabitha, and our name is only spelled differently with one letter. And so there was a bag of stuff up here for her, and someone was like, hey, there's a bag of stuff up here for you. So I went to like grab it, and I looked at it, I was like, I don't think this is for me. This is all like baby and little kid stuff.
I was like, I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
She was like, nobody grabbed it. I had to go hunt it down.
Yeah, Sharon found it. And whenever I saw that it was just a bunch of like girl stuff and things, I was like, well, here, Kevin, I don't know what to do with this. I have 2 boys. So I gave it to Kevin, and luckily Sharon is so good, and she tracked it down.
What's his name?
Okay, so that's another funny story. We didn't know what to name him. We had 3 different names in mind, but then the last minute we were like, we're not feeling like this is supposed to be his name. And then Josh was like he was reading his Bible while we were in the room, and they kept pushing like the name stuff. I was like, I don't know, I guess he's going home without a name. We'll just figure it out when we get there.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like, we know his middle name is Patrick. So
Do they put TBD on the birth certificate?
they just put baby Maui.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want his name baby. So then Josh was like, I don't remember which verse it was that he was reading out, but then Pastor Troy actually the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
Yeah.
He said that on Sunday. And Josh was reading his Bible, and he was like, what is that, shepherd?
Shepherd.
And I was
Awesome.
I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, wait, okay, yeah. I think I really like that. So
Yeah.
we named him Shepherd Patrick.
Oh, that is a
And
pretty name.
shepherd is spelled like shepherd.
That's my last name, Shepherd.
Yeah. So like, and Jesus is the good shepherd. It's spelled just like an actual.
How cool is
And
that?
his name has already been misspelled 3 times.
Of course.
Of course, yeah.
H-A-R-D or
Really?
Yeah.
So we have, do you know Daryl and Mindy Knight?
No.
Okay, Daryl is our missions pastor. He's in Uganda right now. So he is Leanna's brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they just had a grandbaby, and grandbaby's name is Shepherd, and they call him Shep. Yeah. Yeah, so see, there is a generation of shepherds being raised up right now. Look at that.
We've
Look how-
never heard anyone else be named.
Me neither.
And I was like, I don't know why he just felt drawn like that was supposed to be his name. And then after he said it, I was like, yeah, now nothing else sounds good.
That is so cool.
So
Oh,
she was
new
so
baby,
cute.
guys. She was telling the story about how she named him, and she actually brought her son home with no name. And the Lord named him during church Shepherd. So we have a shepherd in here. He's a week old, you guys. And he's so adorable. He's all I can see is his little head, but it's adorable. Okay, so I am teaching on fasting tonight. I just got done with a 21-day fast, but I actually live a lifestyle of fasting and praying. Before I go into that, though, I want to tell a really cool story about the roses. So this is my first time teaching this study tonight. And it's so funny because in my journey, anytime I do a first, a red rose is always involved.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when you walked in with the roses, I was like, oh, King Jesus. So it's super cool. It was like when I started, I did the singles ministry here for a little while, the young adult singles ministry, which I don't know. I got talked into that. It only lasted about 6 months, and I was like, I can't do this. But on the first night that I went, a friend brought me a single red rose. And when I went to Kerrville, which it was my first women's trip on this women's ministry, and got my gift of tongues there. And after I came to, the girl who was praying for gifts of tongues gave everybody a single rose.
Wow.
And it's just like this common theme of these, and you're wanting to pass out roses. I'm going to take a red one home. Just saying. So it's super cute, which is really funny because I can tell you, I'm talking about this because I know that the Lord wants me to talk about it.
Apparently,
Yeah.
it's not just
Yes. Isn't that funny? I'm going to take a picture of that because this is the first time that bouquets of roses showed up. And I'm like,
Now it's one.
And we don't
Yes.
get them every day at the food bank in Southeast Dallas, where I work in a clinic.
that's so true. So white means purity, right?
Yeah.
And then the red is, of course, romance, right? Pure romance.
Love Jesus.
Pure love of Jesus. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that's why I was like, oh, that's so good. That's actually the nudge that I needed because I do not want to talk about fasting, to be honest. I knew that the Lord wanted me to. I knew that was what we were like, I have to discuss it. And I have notes and I'm hoping to be able to answer a bunch of questions. So if anybody, I am watching the comments, guys. I can see everything on this. So if you have questions and you're tuning in online, feel free at any time to comment your questions below because I'm going to be keeping track of those as well. Roses at the foot of the cross. Yes, that's so good, Nikki. And Nikki's tuning in from California, so that is super cool. I think that's so cool. But sorry, I'm mainly an online teacher, so I'm having trouble here. But anyways, okay, so back to that. So I just did a 21-day fast, and I tell you, if I talk to you about the fast, y'all, and all of y'all would leave here like, I'm never fasting again. Like, I have a lifestyle of fasting, and fasting has always been super simple for me. I'd like to do like 1-day water fast. I do 3-way water fast. I fast in the new year. I fast on my birthday. I fast anytime I need to make an important decision. I fasted today before getting here, and then my food was messed up at Chick-fil-A. So I was like, what is going on here? But it's really just a way that I partner with the Lord. And it's a lot of it is like about obedience and stuff like that. But I feel like we've kind of gone away from fasting. We feel like it's not that important anymore. It's not really something that we do or that we talk about. I think it's so silly that people are always like, don't talk about your fast. Like that's the number one rule that people always say is when you fast, don't talk about it. Well, how is anybody else supposed to know how to fast or learn how to fast or be inspired to fast if people do not talk about it? So I'm actually going to debunk that myth today as well, because the Lord told me it's completely okay to talk about when you fast and how you fast and what your fast is like. So, in hopes that we will be more vocal about us fasting, because I think a lot of the reasons why people don't fast is because nobody thinks anybody's doing it. When our leadership fast all the time, we have corporate fasting all the time as leadership. Sometimes we call the entire church to fast. Pastor Troy probably fasts at least twice a month. We have a leadership and an environment here at OpenDoor Church of prayer and fasting. And I think that that's why it's been my walk, because I come from New Age into this church. This is the first church that I've ever been a part of. I don't have a religious background at all. I have this as my testimony of how you walk with the Lord. And so that's what fasting has just been a normal thing to me because of how normal it is in our leadership. And I just think it's so silly that we don't discuss it as Christians, because it really is some of my biggest breakthroughs, some of my biggest breakdowns, and some of my most humbling experiences, but also some of my most powerful experiences have all been surrounded around fasting. Why it works, I have no idea, but I can and I am going to go into how it works, both scientifically as well as biblically, because I actually come from a fitness standpoint of how fasting is good for your body. And I want to teach on that too, because I love when science can confirm what the Lord already has us do. It's kind of like when we're kids and we get told, hey, don't touch that, it's hot. And we don't get like what's going to happen. But then we finally get brave enough and we touch it and we realize, oh, it's like the parents didn't say, oh, you're going to burn yourself and we're going to have to go through all of this stuff. They just said, don't touch that. And I feel like that's the same thing. The Lord just says fast. He doesn't really tell us why we fast or how we fast. There's some examples and stuff, but nothing even in the Bible talks about what your body goes through when you fast. And it's really extremely interesting how our body takes care of itself during fasting. So the first thing I want to go into is the different reasons why we would fast. What are some biblical examples of why we would go into a fast? The first one is for making big decisions, and you can find that in Acts 14:23. It says, Paul and Barnabas appointed elders for them in each church, and with prayer and fasting committed them to the Lord in whom they had put their trust. So when making big decisions, especially decisions that don't have to do with you, like this had to do with, oh, I'm making a big decision for the church and for the Lord, then sometimes it's good to go into prayer and fasting for that. When you're making a big move or a big change, whether it's with a relationship, whether it's with a job, whether it's a decision in your housing, if you're planning on moving somewhere, if you're planning on changing positions at church, if you're getting offered a promotion and you're not sure, or even offered a different position, there's so many decisions that we have to make all the time. And when we can partner with the Lord in those big decisions and those big changes, then the Lord will give you clarity and direction on it. And so that is actually found in Ezra 8:21. It says, there by the Ahava Canal, I proclaimed a fast so that we might humble ourselves before our God and ask him for a safe journey for us, for our children, and for all of our possessions. So they were fasting for a safe journey. Also good for clarity of his voice, if you're having a hard time hearing his voice and hearing directives or instructions. And that is found in Acts 13:2. It says, while they were worshiping the Lord and fasting, the Holy Spirit said, set apart for me Barnabas and Saul for the work to which I have called them. So it was in the middle of fasting, praying, and worshiping that the Lord spoke to them. It's also good to fast if you're contending for something. If you are not seeing, I guess I would maybe put this in with breakthrough, but I don't know, because I have breakthrough at a later place. But contending for something like David in 2 Samuel 12:16 pleaded with God for his child when his child was sick. He was contending for his child to be well. So he fasted and he spent the night in mourning. You also in Esther 4:16, of course, everybody knows about Esther and her fasting. She's probably the best example of fasting in the Bible, but she was contending for the Jews. She was contending for the nation, for the life of the people. And that's, again, she was fasting. She was denying herself. I don't know if maybe it has to do with making sure that the words that she spoke weren't personal, because I can imagine how personal it would have felt to go to the king and fight for your entire family. And maybe the whole denying herself and denying her own personal would help her to have the clear directive that she needed. But either way, she was contending for her people. Fasting is a good time for repentance. And we all talk about repentance, and we're all like, oh my goodness, it means that we're in sin. I don't look at repentance as I'm in sin. I look at repentance like I had a really bad conversation with somebody and it left a bad taste in my mouth and I feel bad and I want the Lord to fix it. You know, sometimes it's like we leave a conversation or a situation or a place, and it's not that we necessarily sinned, but we just don't feel well afterwards. We feel like we didn't handle it properly. We feel like we didn't, we left off in a bad state. Well, to me, that's what repentance is. I feel sorry for how that happened or how things ended or how I acted, and I will fast. And I don't know if that's maybe even a mixture of contending, but it's found in Joel 2:12, where it says, even now declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart, with fasting and weeping and mourning. But it's just a matter of when I'm sad, when I feel bad, when I feel like, oh my goodness, Lord, I need you to show up here. I need you to show up to me, or I need help, I'll fast. Fasting is for mourning. I actually don't have a lot of experience in mourning. That's something that the Lord's kind of walking me through right now in this fast. I'm actually, something big happened to me during this 21-day fast that I feel like I'm mourning a relationship now. So, which is so funny because I write down all my prayers in my journal. Like I actually write down prayers for people or prayers for myself and stuff. Cause then when I don't feel like praying, I still have prayers that I can go back to. So I knew I needed to pray for that person. So I was like, I'm just going to go back to that prayer. And I went back to that prayer, and in it, the very last lines was like, Lord, teach me how to mourn with my friends. And I'm like, this is so funny. I'm praying for someone who's mourning 8 months ago. I'm going back to the prayer and I'm literally mourning because our friendship's not the same. And it's like, oh my goodness, you're teaching me how to mourn. So that's another good reason why you should write down your prayers, because then you can go back to it. But with mourning, we have Nehemiah 1:4. When I heard these things, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. Of course, we also have Psalm 69:10. That's not it. We're moving on first. So it was Nehemiah 1:4. Mm-hmm. Yes. So the other thing that I wanted to get, and then of course with instruction, breakthrough. On breakthrough, as silly as it sounds, I don't know if everybody's heard of Isaiah 58, 3-7, where he's like, this is not the fast that I have asked for. Isn't the, like, I'll just read it. Because this is the very first verses I ever read about fasting before I even started fasting, when the Lord really was starting to call me into a lifestyle of fasting. It says, why have we fasted, they said, and you have not seen it? Why have we humbled ourselves and you have not noticed? Yet on the day of your fasting, you do as you please and exploit all your workers. Your fasting ends in quarreling and strife and in striking each other with wicked fist. You cannot fast as you do today and expect your voice to be heard on high. Side note, fasting will make you angry. Just fair warning, there really is such thing as hangry. And I think that that's so funny how he talks about quarreling and strife and striking each other with wicked fists, because it's like you literally do, you get short-tempered. I know with my kids, like I have to constantly be like, thank you, Lord, for giving me a grace with my kids. I don't know how my kids went 21 days with me in the attitudes that I was in, because it's so true. Like you just, and sometimes you're just like, I don't get it, because it's not even you're hungry, but you're just mad. And you just don't, you're just like, why am I so mad today? Like, why am I snapping at my kids every 5 seconds? Like, what is this? I mean, it comes with fasting according to the words. It says, is this the kind of fast I have chosen? Only a day for people to humble themselves. Is it only for bowing one's head like a reed and for lying in sackcloth and ashes? Is that what you call a fast? A day acceptance to the Lord, a day acceptable to the Lord. Anyways, and then it's this. Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen? To loose the chains of injustice and to untie the cords of the yoke and to set the oppressed free and break every yoke. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, we fast so that we can loosen the chains that are on us that are unjust. Like I totally saw it like in the spiritual realm, maybe we are trapped or chained to something and we need to loosen that chain. And maybe the only way that we do that is through fasting. To untie the cords of the yoke is something super, super heavy. Are you super burdened with something? Maybe fasting allows the Lord to untie those burdens and those yokes. And to break every yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke. I was like, wow, that's breakthrough. Why would an ox's yoke, whenever an ox's yoke got broken, what would that ox do? It'd run free. And it was just like, whenever I saw that, like I get that a lot of the times people look at that like, oh, we're supposed to loose the chains of the unjust going on in the world, or we're supposed to set the captives free and stuff like that. But I looked at that verse and I thought, no, I'm the captive and I'm fasting for breakthrough, to be set free. I'm fasting so that the Lord can do these things for me. And so that was just like, it really opened my eyes, because there's a lot of things whenever you come out of New Age that you got to break yourself free from. And there is a lot of powerful forces that are against you. And that's a whole nother sermon. But whenever I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, I've got to figure out how to fast. I have to learn how to fast. So one thing that I want you all to also know is that, of course, Matthew 6:16 through 18 does not, it says basically that we are expected to fast. It's from Jesus. It says, when you fast, do not look somber as hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces and show others they are fasting. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, so that it will not be as obvious to others that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen. And your Father, who sees what you've done in secret, will reward you. So again, that's twice it says when you fast, but I'm also going to hone in on this because this is the verse that everybody gives you to tell you that you're not supposed to tell everybody that you're fasting.
Which one is that?
This is Matthew 6, and it's 16 through 18.
Okay.
And so, he's saying, you know, don't somber yourselves, don't disfigure your face to show that you're others that you're fasting. Truly, I tell you, they receive their reward. So a lot of people will be like, don't tell other people you're fasting. But whenever I read this, I see, don't look miserable when you're fasting. Like, it's okay to tell people you're fasting, but don't be like, oh, and don't, you know, like, don't act like you are in the worst state of the world. Like, I can say now, oh my God, that fast was terrible. Like so bad, so hard to walk through. But I hope that in the past 21 days, nobody has thought, oh my gosh, Tabitha is a raging queen right now, you know, like Tabitha's suffering or anything like that, because I did try to always keep a smile on my face. I did try to act like I spoke about my fasting, but I never spoke about it like it was a bad thing. I just spoke about it like, yes, I'm in the middle of a fast. And so whenever I see this, it's like, yes, truly they have received the reward in full. So they're like, oh, if you tell people you're fasting, you're not going to be rewarded. Well, I don't see that here. I see here, it's like, just put on a happy face. Wash your face, put oil on your face, be happy, be glad. Let people know you're fasting, and don't worry, the Lord will reward you for all the crap you went through in the secret place when you were in the middle of fasting. Yeah.
So, like, how, I don't know if you guys know from experience, but how do you know which fast to do? Like, does the Lord kind of guide you, like, to do a 40-day or 21, or does he put it on your heart more to do like a specific one, or is it like, how do you go about that?
So
like in your journey, like, how have you heard God's voice of which one to do?
Yeah, for me, I have always heard the Lord give me specific instructions on my big fast.
Okay.
Like this one for 21 days was like, okay, Tabitha, I want you to fast for 21 days. I want you to do 7 days water, 7 days liquid, 7 days smoothies.
And then you're like, okay, Lord.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, I got it. Which it's like you get told. So I got told on the New Year that, like, in the middle of my fast in the New Year, I heard the Lord say that I was going to go through a 21-day fast this year, and that was going to be my big fast. I didn't know when it was going to be or anything. I just wrote it down in my journal and was like, okay. Well, then as I started to, like walk it out and stuff, then we have this 222 star party. And I hear the Lord say, that's when it's starting. And I was like, well, okay. Well, then I forgot. And it comes in like a week before the 222 star party. And it's like, oh, don't forget, you're going to start your fast. And I was like, so it came up to me like a memory almost, like, hey, that fast is coming up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't prepared for it. So when the Lord called me to a 7-day fast, again, it was the same way. I heard the Lord say 7 days, and I was like, okay, that's great. And then later I heard just water, and I was like, well, I've got to prepare for this. And so then in my planning mind, I was like, okay, I'll do 1 day water one weekend, and then the next weekend I'll do 3 days water, and then the next weekend I'll do 1 day water, and then the next weekend I'll do 3-day water. That'll be 8 days. If I can accomplish 8 days spread out, I can accomplish 7 days. So it's kind of like just preparing myself, which I am going to get into how you can prepare yourself for success for a fast. If the Lord is calling you to a huge fast and you're not somebody that lives a lifestyle of fasting, ask for more direction, because he could be setting you up for further, like, hey, you're going to do this. It's further down the road. Prepare. And how you prepare is by doing smaller fasts. And whenever I decided that I was going to do the smaller fast, I started putting them into my calendar so I would remember. And it was like I fasted 3 days during Mother's Day weekend and 3 days during Father's Day weekend. And I was literally doing my 7-day fast to help get breakthrough for things in my lineage. And so it was interesting that some of the fasting that I was doing that I was being prepared for was in the middle of those special days during. And it whenever it all lines up like that, and you see the way that the Lord is like moving in it, it helps you. It's kind of like this, like the roses show up, and I'm like, okay, I can get through this. And that's the same way. Like the Lord will, but sometimes the Lord won't lead you into a fast. Sometimes in the beginning of my fast, I would in the beginning of my walk and journey of fast, I would realize it's like 2 PM and I haven't eaten yet, and I'd be like, oh, I'm fasting. And I would just carry it out. And so it was like, that's how the Lord kind of called me into some learning to fast. I don't know if you've ever gone through days where it's like, man, I feel like I've not been able to get a chance to stop and eat. Then most people would be like, oh, I'm going to go get food. Where for me, I was like, maybe the Lord is telling me I need to fast about something, okay, so see, and then that's how you end up just kind of walking that way. Now, I will say on this 21-day fast, like my friend called me and was like, hey, I don't know why, but I just feel like I need to tell you, you need to stick to the plan whenever you get into this fast. Well, whenever I got into the fast, there were multiple opportunities for me to change the plan, where I felt like I could change the plan, where I felt like I was hearing the Lord tell me to change the plan. And I literally was like, no, I was warned to stick to the plan. And so at the end of it, I realized, okay, so no, like this fast was a lot about hearing wrong voices and stuff like that. And just like really trying to like hone in on discernment. Yeah. Which is really, 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 and that's the whole thing too. I wish what I do with fasting is whenever, like when the Lord called me into a fast and I was getting ready to fast, I always, and this is one of the things where I was going to say, like, set yourself up for success. I always write down what I want to get out of the fast. Like if the Lord's calling me to a fast, I'm like, okay, I'm going to write down some points of what I'm hoping, breakthrough I'm hoping to get, people that I may be contending for, like all of it. I want to write all of that stuff down, because then when you're day 5 and you're starving, you can look back at your motivation and what's motivating you and why you're doing what you're doing. And there is a lot of walking in, breaking fast, and realizing that every fast is successful. If you set yourself up for a 7-day fast and you're like, I'm going to do it, and you're 3 days in and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, you still accomplished a 3-day fast. And sometimes it's like, I think of like how God talks to me a lot through my children. So that's just, luckily this is a women's group, so y'all probably will all at least understand either as being a child or being around children and stuff. But like that kid that thinks that he's going to go jump off of the high dive, and then he gets up there and he's like freaks out and can't do it and steps back down. Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, you're so proud of them for even thinking that they could accomplish it. But you knew when they were climbing up the high dive, there was no way they were going to jump off of it. Well, I feel like that's how the Lord is with us. He's like so proud of you that you're like, oh, 7-day fast. And then you get up on 3 days and you're like, oh my gosh. Well, the Lord knew that you were only going to be able to make it 3 days. And nothing is wasted, you know? So those 3 days count. And you just pick up where you left off again some other time. A lot of people are like, oh, if I break my fast, do I need to start over? I'm not somebody that thinks that you do have to start over.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Oh, and some
You
people,
failed tonight, you need to start over.
yeah. And it's like, I mean, nothing is wasted in the kingdom. I know that in the fitness world, and that's where like I kind of get these ideas and stuff like that, is if I go 3 days of really great eating, and then one day I like go all out crazy and eat all kinds of crazy cookies or something like that, I'm not going to discredit those 3 days that I did well. And it doesn't change those 3 days. You know, you have weekly averages. Your body doesn't know when days are changed. You know, you start the next day and you just get right back on track. And a lot of the times that one day does nothing to you. And you still gain the same kind of progress. And it's just like, God designed our bodies. And I think sometimes we're just so mean to ourselves whenever it comes to rules and regulations. Don't tell people you fasted, or, you know, like, nope, now you got to start over. I literally was going to quit on day 16, like, of the fast. I was gonna be like, I'm done. Lord, I don't even care. And because I was in such a wrong mind at that time, because I was out of my tree. I lost my tree at like day 7. It was like, but because I was so out of my tree, I was telling everybody, I don't care, you know, next time the Lord will just call me to a 40-day fast. Well, it's like such condemnation. Like, oh, I'm going to make you do it harder. No, I think the Lord is so proud of us because think about all the people that aren't fasting and all the people that aren't gaining breakthrough. And a fast isn't for him. A fast is for us. Like, is he really going to be mad at you that you didn't get your breakthrough? Maybe he'll be upset because, I don't know. I think that all fasts are, I don't know. I'm very grace-filled. So I think all fasts count. I don't think that you would go into a fast and not get the breakthrough that the Lord has for you. Sometimes my biggest breakthroughs happen the day I start my fast. And it's like, so many people can think, oh, that's fine, I can give in. But, you know, I don't know. I love the Lord. And I feel like if I tell him I'm going to do something, then I'm going to finish it. And that's where I feel like if you are somebody who consistently wants to start a fast and then breaks it, and then start a fast and then breaks it, you're just super ambitious and you need to lay back on, you know, like I don't know why people don't even try a skipping breakfast and lunch and eating dinner fast. Like, that's hard for most people in America. And that's a successful fast. Or I don't know, like I listed out all the different ways that you can fast. So there's intermittent fasting, which is a pattern of fasting and eating over different times. And so the standard options is eating in a 4 to 11 hour window. So it means you eat for 4 hours. So like you could literally go on a 7-day fast and eat in a 4-hour window those 7 days. And I consider that a 7-day fast. Like, if y'all saw some of the smoothie bowls I made on my 7 days of smoothies, because I was like, Lord, is granola legal? Oh, I heard yes. You know, but it's just like, sometimes I feel like we get so stuck in rules and regulations, and it's just like, but then, so there's also a 16-8, which is 16 hours of not eating, 8 hours of eating. That's considered a fast. There's a 24, which is like, it's a 4 hours of eating and 20 hours of not eating. There's the 5-2, where you either you fast for 2 days a week. So you eat for 5 days, but then you don't eat for 2 days. And that's literally considered fasting. Then you've got the 24-hour fast. Then there's a 36-hour fast. There's alternate day fasting, which is eat one day, don't eat the next, eat one day, don't eat the next. There's spontaneous fasting, which is skipping meals. A lot of the times that's what I was talking about, where it's like, if I end up, it's 2:00 in the afternoon, I'm like, man, I haven't eaten anything. Oh, the Lord's calling me to a fast. Like, that's what happened to me today, to realize, oh, like I wasn't planning on fasting today, but I was like, I think the Lord's calling me to a fast. There's the Daniel fast, which is not eating meats and no choice foods. I don't know. I get really confused. The main reason why I do water fasting is because everything else is super confusing to me. Like trying to stay within the guidelines of a Daniel fast where it's like, okay, you don't eat meat, but you can eat vegetables, but maybe you can eat grains. Like all that's too much for me. Yeah, like I'll do like a liquid fast. Okay, I get it. If it comes in liquid, it's legal. And I will tell you, in my liquid fast, I counted soups in hands because they were blended before my eyes, like before I bought them from the store. And so like, you know, I'm like, I don't think the Lord's going to be mad at me because all I heard was 7 days liquid, 7 days smoothies. And whenever I heard 7 day smoothies, I knew don't use your blender until that last phase. So I figured, okay, if this is a soup that I can sip and not have to put it in a blender, then it's legal. Like, who is going to tell me my fast is wrong? Unless there's somebody that has a religious spirit, and then, you know, like you don't want to listen to them anyways. Go back to Isaiah 58 and remember what the fast is about. The fast is about breaking yokes, and anything that has to do with food that is outside of your norm or less than. I don't even eat soup on a regular basis. So the fact that I'm even sipping soup, and I will tell you, there's something magical about chewing. So just the fact that I was not able to chew was a big deal to me. And I think it was a big deal to the Lord as well. You have juice fast, you have liquid fast, you have smoothie fast. A lot of the times, even, you know, like when the church leadership up here fast, it's not just water. They use protein shakes and stuff like that, and it's still considered a fast. Coffee is still considered a fast. 3-day fast, 7-day fast, 21-day fast, 40-day fast. But I will tell you, if you want to be set up for success, you also have to remember Psalm 69:10. That is a psalm that I hold on to during my fast. It says, when I weep and fast, I must endure scorn. Yep, see? Thunder of the Lord.
I don't know if this is like cheating or not, but when Mr. Pibb comes,
Mr. Pibb? I mean, if you're in a liquid fast, no.
that would be part of
Yeah, as long as, like, and that's the whole thing. I would not even, if, like, you're not somebody that lives a lifestyle of fasting, don't even try a water fast yet. Like, literally try liquids. And liquids is anything. It's juices, it's Mr. Pibbs, it's...
so much about that, and it's funny because a few months ago, my husband, he's never done it, like, that's all new to him. So he's just like, what is a fast? What do you fast? And he's like, you just, like, no sugars or something? And I was like,
Yeah.
There's a large scale.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I'm not an expert here. And we had discussed doing that, but I was pregnant at the time. And to avoid morning sickness, my medicine was Mr. Pibb. First thing in the morning with peanut butter crackers.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I tried to do it without eating it, and I got sick because of morning sickness. But now that I've had the baby, I was wondering, like, well, it still makes me feel better, but you mentioned liquid fast, and I was like, okay, so I guess soda might could count.
Yeah, liquid fast. I mean, no meat fast. I went keto for about 8 months, and the Lord told me, Tabitha, did you know that was a type of fast? You cut out carbs. Something that you depend on, something that you love. You deprive yourself. The Lord told me to cut out caffeine, and so it was fasting to cut out caffeine. And then the Lord told me to cut out sugar, and so I've done a no sugar fast. Like, fasting is literally when you decide that you're going to let something go. I mean, people do media fast, social media fast. People do.
That was my next question. Like,
Yeah.
Is it just about food?
No, it's not just about food. A lot of the times it's only about food in the Bible. But I mean, what did they have back then? There is in Leviticus. I was looking up. I was looking it up before everybody came in. It's like Leviticus 16 and like 29 and 30 or 28, 29, 30 or something like that, where the Day of Atonement, they're told to refrain from doing any work. Well, that's fasting. They fasted from labor. It was, the Sabbath could be considered a fast.
I
And
think it's what takes away your
Time with the Lord. Like,
yes,
like
what
a
distracts
distraction.
you is what is a hard fast. I mean, even
And-
like she says, Mr. Pibb, well, getting off coffee and fasting coffee, it's kind of like people that smoke cigarettes. When you're in a certain situation, you want that thing because that's
Yeah.
your situation. Coffee and your Mr. Pibb is the same thing. If we fast things we desire, then you're giving something up that means a lot to you because it's not your whole life. It is something that you enjoy, I guess I should say. So,
And then putting it in replacement to believe like how the Lord will, like
I
with
don't-
coffee, like instead of depending on coffee to give you the strength and the energy, like believing like supernaturally that God will just give you the energy. But
Yeah, definitely. But I will also say, just from experience in my 21-day fast, that I was distracted with food a lot. So in a sense, looking at it that way of things that are distracting you from the Lord can put you into a critical mindset if you get into your fast and you start pulling your mind away from the Lord, because then you're like, oh, what am I doing? Like one of the main reasons why I wanted to quit on day 16 was because I felt like I was failing at my fast anyways, because all I was thinking about was food anyways. So I was like, I was just sitting in my house going, I think about food more than anything else.
But you get to a point though where that stops.
Yeah.
During your fast, you get to a point where that stops, and he kind of like releases you from that. And then your fast gets easier.
And I have had, like, on my 7-day water fast, I did not think about food at all. At all. Like,
you literally just drink.
I just drank water and Topo Chico, which is fizzy water, like mineral water. Yeah. For 7 days. Yep. And I literally, like, not once. We went on road trips and, like, I even sat while my friends ate and, like, didn't care about the food at all. I think that's another reason why I actually because when we get into, like, the scientific aspect of fasting, your body will actually shut down hunger hormones and hunger cues when you're fasted, but you have to be only water. If you are taking in any kind of calories like a liquid or a smoothie, your body will send those receptors. So I feel like towards the end of my fast, because I was increasing my calories, it was like my body was like, food, let me chew. And it was almost more difficult for me because I had turned back on those hunger hormones. I think it's like called ghrelin or something. And I'm not big on all the technical words for it, but I know like there's like leptin and ghrelin of like hunger hormones that will actually send those. But whenever you're fasted and you are just doing water, your body shuts that off because your body we're all from like what's that word, whenever hunting and gathering. So back in the day, they would shut that off so that we could focus on finding food. If you were sitting there thinking about food all day long, it's like you wouldn't go find that. You wouldn't be able to hunt. It is kind of the whole idea behind that. So water fasting is actually, in my opinion, easier than incorporating food and stuff like that into it. But again, just to go back into the spiritual warfare of a fast, that's in Psalm 29:10. You can expect pushback in spiritual warfare. It says, when I weep and fast, I must endure scorn. It's a must. So when you're fasting and you're miserable or you're sad or you're going through all of these problems, just to be able to hold on to that scripture and just know that it's normal helps me get through it. That it's normal. I'm going to endure scorn. I'm going to endure pushback. I'm going to endure. Like I have to endure. Luke 4:2 says, where for 40 days he was tempted by the devil. He ate nothing during those days, and at the end of them he was hungry. So it was like at the end of those days, like Bible's legit saying, hey, Jesus was hungry. And then the devil's like, hey, you want some bread? And I can just eat. We look at that like temptation, but I look at that like spiritual warfare, like, here you go. And from the devil, like how much I feel like that was a lot in my 21-day fast whenever I was thinking about changing it up. And if I wouldn't have had that warning, like if my friend wasn't obedient to give me that warning, for one, then I might have changed it up. And I just imagine that was probably the devil going, hey, we can change this. And me just being tempted by my own desires to chew and have a pizza.
Can you have gum in a water fast? Does that count, or is that still like a calorie?
It really, the whole thing with fasting is there's so many different types of fast. What I would suggest to set you up for success is do like what I said, where 21 days, I said 7 days water, 7 days liquid, 7 days smoothies. I had it written out. I had it written down with what I was contending for. If you decide before you start your fast that you can chew gum, then chew gum. If you decide, oh, I can't chew gum during my fast, what's going to happen is 3 days in, you're going to want to chew gum. And it's that wanting to like change. Because the whole thing about fasting is denying yourself. And that really is the whole end of it, is saying, Lord Jesus, you are more important to me than what I'm planning to give up. And I don't know if it's with because of my relationship with the Lord and because I'm single, so I like look at it like he's my husband. And so I think of it like, if I told my husband I'm not going to do something, then 3 days in, when I feel like I want to do it, I'm thinking about my commitment to the Lord more than, like, would it upset him? No. But did I tell him? Did I promise him this? Do I want to make him happy? Do I want to please him? Do I want him to know I'm a worthy bride? Do I want him to understand how much I love him? Would me choosing this, in a sense, after I told him that I'm not going to do it, am I going against his desires? And it's kind of like just being able to kind of look at him like a person sitting in front of me or a friend that I've discussed something with makes it so much easier for me to stick through with things. I don't know, and it's about being a person of our word, I guess. Like a lot of the times it's like, I want to show the Lord that I am a person of my word, because he is such a person of his word. He is such a person of his word that he will honor your fast day one. And you already have such breakthrough. And then you're like, but then you have to carry it through. Like, if you, I don't even know how to like express this other than to say, like, if you decided in your heart, like, I am gonna for 14 days, every single morning, tell my husband something special about him that I love about him, something different and something special, because I'm hoping he'll do the same for me. I'm needing some acceptance and some love. I don't want to be a nagging wife. I don't want to be like, gimme, 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 gimme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give what I want to receive, because that's a lot of like how the Lord is. And so if on day 3 you start receiving a response, do you quit going all 14 days? Or do you think, oh, that's enough, I've gotten what I want? And it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of the same thing for me. Like, I just look at it like that. Like, if I've decided and determined in my heart that I'm going to do something, I'm going to let my yes be yes. Unless I'm on day 16 and I'm like, I'm going to really, honestly, truth, I thought I was on day 15 because I couldn't even keep track of counting after day 10. Like, I could not for the life of me remember what day I was on. And all I knew is that my alarm was going to go off whenever it was time to switch it. Like, I had schedules set, like, and that's another way to prepare yourself for, if you're going to be doing a long fast and you're going to be setting it up and phasing it and stuff, is use your calendar and set up those notifications, because I was out of my tree after day 7. Like, for real, I could not even keep track to the day. And so I made a post on Facebook and I put, I'm on day 15. And my friend called me and she was like, you know, you're on day 16, right? And it was like that one day made such a difference that I was like, oh, I can finish this. I'm already on day 16. I only got 5 more days to go. I've got the, but it was so funny because, like, I was literally looking in the refrigerator at what I was going to throw the towel in on when she called me. It's like, are you sure? She was like, yeah, for real. If you started on 22nd, and she helped me count, and I was like, well, okay. Like I literally I got kind of scared in the middle of it because like I couldn't write sentences. I all of a sudden had dyslexia where I was writing letters in front of each, and I was like,
Whoa.
my brain is not working. And it's because our brain needs fat. And even when you go into the liquids. So what I started to do, because, like you have to set yourself up for success. Well,
Like,
I
Mhm.
put butter in my coffee. Yeah, I had to still work. So I started putting melting butter in my coffee. It became a liquid. And I was getting fats. I was putting olive oil in my broth. Whenever I was drinking broth, I'd add olive oil to it, But I mean, it's still telling you, it was like, it was hard. It was like, I would have conversations with people and be like, I am not retaining anything that you're telling me right now. And it really started to open my eyes up though to like the lack of nutrition in our diets, could probably be a lot of like why we have confusing thoughts. Or I got so depressed. I won't even like I have not been that depressed since I was 14. And I was like, luckily I recognized it as depression, and I gave myself, you have to give yourself grace when you're in a fast to go through these feelings and know that they're not you. And it's not like you're literally depriving your body of things that it needs in order to think properly, in order to function properly. Just to get into a little bit of how your body reacts to a fast. So when you fast, your body actually goes through what's called autophagy. And what autophagy does is your body decides it's going to eat itself, basically. And what's so cool about it though is that it actually eats the weaker cells. It'll actually, that's why fasting has been considered a cure for cancer, because it actually eats, like it goes after those worse worse cells and the ones that basically like it cleanses your body out of the toxins and stuff. And it's like it only leaves stronger cells. So if you think about it, after the fast, your body is physically stronger because those cells that have just been weighing you down, or those cells that are like just like the weak one in the ship, are getting eaten and getting taken care of. And I just think that's so interesting because fasting is called to make us stronger spiritually, but it literally makes us stronger physically as well. But if you think about it, if you're living off of weak cells, maybe that's why you're so weak in a fast. But it also, like I put here, fasting puts your body under mild stress, which makes our cells adapt by enhancing their ability to cope. In other words, they become strong. This process is similar to what happens when we stress our muscles or our heart whenever we exercise. As with exercise, our body can only go stronger during these processes with adequate time of rest and recover. Well, that's what your body is doing. Your short-term fasting or your long-term fasting, whatever your fasting is, your body, your digestive system has been being put in a place of rest. And because it's not trying to actively digest, it'll go take care of those other parts of your body that it's been neglecting and cleaning house, basically. And so it's just really cool to see like how our bodies are designed during fasting to physically make us stronger, to take out the weak cells in our body. And that's all we are, is just a big clump of cells and whatever else it is that we've got going on inside of us.
Awesome. So
Yeah. And but I mean it also because of that, because we're strengthening ourselves, it helps our immune system too. Like fasting literally boosts your immune system. And so it's just like it's strengthening spiritually, but it's strengthening physically as well, and it's strengthening mentally, even though when you're in the middle of it you want to die. For real. Let me
You
see.
mentioned with butter, something else you can put in coffee or in smoothies is coconut oil, unrefined.
Yeah.
Virgin.
Oh, I was doing it all. I will tell you, little secret, guys, in my smoothies stage, because the thing is I was doing protein powders, but protein powders are not they're not a good protein source. They're considered a supplement. So I was literally for 14 days. Well, actually, it was on day 16 that I decided to do this. So for 16 days, I was, for 7 days, I was getting nothing. And whenever I do water, I don't even do vitamins just because I'm afraid it's going to make me sick because of an empty stomach. So then whenever I go into the liquids, I started to do my vitamins again. And then I was okay with protein powders because I shook it up. I didn't have to use a blender. So then I'm doing all these protein powders and stuff like that. And it's still not an adequate nutrition. And it was actually like messing up my system. And so then I started looking up like the side effects of depending on protein powder as a protein source. And it's actually like not that healthy to do that. And so I was like, what in the world? So in my blending stages, I was blending up meat.
No way.
Yes. I was taking a cup of soup and whatever the soup had in it, like if it was clam chowder soup, put it in the blender and add some tuna. For real. I took tomato soup and added beef. I took a chicken and dumpling soup and added chicken. And if I could blend it, I blended it. And if I drank it out of a straw, it was legal. But yeah, so like literally days like 19, 20, and 21 were probably my best days of the fast. Because I was finally because after I started to be able to do smoothies, I was getting a lot of calories in. I was able to get cashew butter in. I was able to put chia seeds and hemp seeds and whatever in my smoothies to blend it and stuff like that. I was doing avocados. So I was able to get all those healthy fats and stuff. And so it just took a little while, but I ended up feeling better finally by like day 19. And
You still do that in liquids, right? Like do the hemp seeds and all that?
I didn't.
You didn't.
No, I didn't. With the liquids, it was if it was liquid, it was legal, but I didn't have anything that like could be chewy or like stick in your
Even
teeth
if
or
it
anything
was,
like that.
a smoothie?
I mean, if you think like again, like that's why like the last thing that I wanted to end this on, which I don't even know. Let me make sure that I think I got to everything that I was wanting to do. Failure is not failure. Nothing is wasted in the kingdom. I actually put Bill Johnson's quote in this because I love this. Whenever it comes to fasting, I love always remain a novice, never think you have fully arrived. The whole thing is you may decide to put chia seeds in it and everything and all that's great. And who's going to tell you that's wrong? You know, like it's fasting. Fasting is fasting. And then maybe next time you don't feel the same way about the chia seeds. And it's a different fast. Like I don't think any of my fasts have ever been the same. Like that's why I wanted to end this with the truth is there's no rules. There's no right way to fast. There's no wrong way to fast. There's just your way to fast. It's just like there's no journey that we're all walking on the same. If it was all the same, if fasting was all the same, it'd be religion. Like literally, like a lot of people for health reasons will fast certain ways. And who's to say that that's wrong? If you are dedicating yourself to a fast, as long as who knows, maybe it could be a 7-day pizza fast. You'd probably get tired of pizza by like day 3. So that could literally be a fast, like it's just fasting. It's just doing it and deciding this is a fast. And to set yourself up for just set yourself up for success. Write out what you're fasting for. Write out what kind of fast you're doing and how you want to do it. Don't kill yourself if you break your fast or if you do something wrong. I mean, I'm pretty sure on one of the days I was making a pumpkin thing for somebody and I licked the spoon and I was like,
Oh.
but how many people have been like, oh, there it goes. I messed up. I am a failure. No, I'm in the middle of cooking and I licked a spoon. Who doesn't lick the spoon when you're in the middle of cooking? It was literally second nature. I was like, but I was like in the middle of my water fast at that time. So it was like anything of substance was like, but it was just like, oops, but I continued and I didn't count it as not my fast. In my liquid fast, I got one of the soups at hands and I started to drink it and I could feel like chunks of noodles or something in the soup. I was like, uh-oh, but I didn't say, oh, that's it. No more fasting. So it's just like,
I know makeup one too. For women that struggle with like identity and feeling like they have to wear makeup to feel like, for their insecurity.
There was
the Lord's spoken.
Yeah. Taylor has done, my little sister has done a no makeup fast.
Really?
Because that was one of her struggles. My entire life, my struggle has always been about food. Always. And so it makes sense to me that my fasting has always been food. But I will say I have combined a food fast, like a water fast, whenever I was doing the 1 day, 3 day, even my 7 day fast. I did I didn't do like soaps and stuff like that. Like I literally like brushed my teeth with baking soda, and like I would rinse in the shower, but I wouldn't use any kind of soaps because I was literally chasing purity in that time. And so I had decided I was going to purify anything that touches my skin as well. And that's just what I did. And I am a lotions, soaps, smell goods, perfumes type person. And so like even harder than not eating was showing up to work for that up there with my hair in a bun, glasses on because I wouldn't do my contacts because of the contact solution, glasses on my face, brushing my teeth with baking soda, no makeup. And I'm just like, hello, you guys. Luckily, Pastor Troy understood what I was doing and didn't think that I was just like a hot mess. But that's the whole thing too. That was a part of my fast. And so it's literally just like how you choose to fast.
I have one question. Do you see your breakthrough during your fast or after? Like does God just like speak to you
So
things just happen like?
I have seen the breakthrough on the day that I fast. Like the day that I started my fast, what I was contending for happened. I've seen that because like I've gone through some legal battles where I was like waiting to hear for an answer from court, and I'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna fast until I get an answer. And it was like I would have a set day, like I'll fast until I get an answer, but I'm calling them by Thursday if I don't hear from them type thing. Because I'm like also the type of person that every time you call your lawyer, you freaking get charged, you know? So I started my fast, and literally the morning that I started my fast, I heard what I needed to hear. But then there's also times whenever I get breakthrough in the middle, and it's like I know the challenge is, will I finish my fast? I know in that sense, I was like, oh, I don't have to fast anymore. And I felt fine with that because I said I was fasting until I got my answer. But there's other times whenever I've gotten breakthrough right in the very first day, and I've still carried out my fast because I determined that I was going to carry out my fast. I did this 21-day fast, and I'm sitting here. Let me see. It ended on the 15th, and now it's the 22nd, and I don't know where my breakthrough is, and I still actually.
You were, like, believing for something else.
Yes, I have. I looked at my list just yesterday, and it's so funny because I've been done, and this is just real life. I still feel like I'm going through the same spiritual warfare as my fast. I just get to eat now is the only difference. But it's like I looked at my list. There were 6 things that I was contending for, and every single one of those is worse off than it was when I started my fast. And I'm like, where's like. If I would have known, like, you know, like you think, oh, I want this. And you're like, oh, now that's digressed and that's digressed and that's going crazy. And you're like, wait a second, I wanted a fast for breakthrough, not for like breakdown. But, you know, and so that's like what I'm walking through now is I'm walking through all of this stuff is being broken down. And yeah, I mean, believe me. So, I mean, that's the main reason why I didn't want to do this today is because I don't have, like, I can't be like, oh, the 21-day fast was amazing and the Lord answered all these prayers for me and it was worth it. Was it worth it? Yes, it was worth it because the Lord told me to do it and he loves me and I know that. But I am literally going through a season of waves and like I am in the storm right now and there is no boat or lifeboat or anything and I'm just like, I don't know what you're doing, but evidently you're teaching me that I only, you know, like I don't know what he's teaching me yet at this point.
You will look back and he will resolve them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we think that we finished the fast and it should all be over with, but he's still teaching you something.
Exactly.
There's still something in there that you're supposed to learn. That then you'll look back one day, you'll kind of forget, and all of a sudden you look back and you go, wow. He wiped them out and I didn't know it.
Yeah, and that's what.
And that's encouraging to us. That right there, what you just told, was probably the most encouraging thing that you could have said
Oh,
tonight.
no, good.
Is I don't see my breakthrough yet, and
Yeah.
I'm done with my fast, and I'm thinking it's worse now, and so that was good. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, well, good. I'm glad because I've been like, nobody, everybody wants to be a success story. Everybody wants to be a success story. And I mean, that's kind of like the main reason why I don't talk about my Colorado trail. Did things happen to me on the trail that I will never forget? Yes. And will I put them in a book one day? Sure. But I went out there expecting some things, and here I am almost a year later, and and so maybe it's breaking down my expectations. That's one thing that the Lord's really been talking to me about too, breaking down my expectations, not putting trust in men and people. Not whenever I say trust in men, I don't mean men like a man, but I just mean in people. A lot of what I was contending for was relational, and it's a lot of those relationships that I'm having trouble with now. I mean, I kind of hinted towards it at the beginning of this, but yeah, and it's just like, maybe it's about being still and watching the Lord work and not doing your own stuff. Sometimes when you see things breaking down, you get into repair mode, in Mr. Fix-It mode, and you're like, okay, I'm going to fix this over here, and I'm going to fix this over here. And the Lord has literally broken things down where I'm like, I don't even know how to fix this. So, and maybe that's what this is about. I know that in the middle of my fast, I got my plates for my car, and it was 86 and 27 in the plates. And I went to Psalm 86 and Psalm 27, and those were like right words about sticking even when you don't see.
Wow.
And that's hard. We can say that all the time, live by faith, and we trust the Lord, and we have high faith, and we know He's good, but Lord's really testing how good I think He is right now. But it'll be good.
Really, because He knows you followed through with what you did.
Yeah.
So you were in the wilderness.
Yeah.
It's like the thing you said on YouTube, our women's thing the other day. Just send me an angel with food.
Yeah.
And He did, and arose, and everything else. He just wants to know that you're going to do it, and He's going to work the rest of it out.
Yeah.
It's just not in our time.
That's what sometimes I tell myself, like, maybe it's because I was so rebellious as a child that I'm like making it up in obedience now. Who knows? The thing is I love to hold on to what it says in Job 2 about how like we don't understand His ways. And that's the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing that I can walk away from in all of this is do it, and do it unto the Lord, and trust His goodness, but trust your goodness too. Like, when you break down, when you fail, when things don't look right, when everything on that sheet of paper that you wrote down in the beginning looks worse off than it did, trust that you're still good and that God is still good, because it's so true. So like, I can sit up here and I can talk to all y'all about fasting, because at the end of the day, I trust that I'm still good, and that the Lord's still good, and that I didn't do anything wrong, and I didn't think about pizza and steak and sushi too much, and I didn't, oh man, this is all because I licked that pumpkin off that spoon. Like, it's just a matter of what is it? My 6-year-old. It's so funny. I'm thinking of this. So my 6-year-old, he gets very frustrated in class when he can't do something, and his teacher always has to tell him, no, you just say you can't do it yet. You just got to say you can't do it yet. And like, that's what it is. I just haven't seen my breakthrough yet. Like, it's coming. It'll be there. Some other people tend to like say they see it, and I'm just like, Lord, I wish I could.
It might be like that, the father saying, hey, give me your teddy bear, and behind me, he's got the pearls.
Yes. Or the double bouquet of roses instead of a single rose, like, anyways.
It's like pruning us too.
Yeah.
Just little by little. And that's what we get frustrated at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I feel like He took a chainsaw to my garden. It was like, it's all gotta go. But I thought it was pretty.
He's something even more pretty.
Exactly. That's what. So Sherry is asking if the fasting affected my sleep. I had a lot lighter sleep during the fast because I had a lot more dreams, and I actually got where your body limbs fall asleep, and so like I would wake up like with, and it would just make me not be able to go back to sleep. So yeah, yep, you sacrifice your sleep too. What about if we have medication and health challenges? So Nikki, that's where I would say maybe don't do a water fast, but do a fast that you can do. Anybody that has like medications and health challenges should still be able to do like a smoothie fast and put whatever you want to in the smoothie, get the nutritions that you need, and be able to take your medication. So I do not recommend ever not taking required medication during a fast. I don't take my vitamins during a water fast, but they're just vitamins. And so, and then, okay, what's a recommended fast for the older generation? Smoothie fast? I don't know. What do y'all think for the older generation? So,
Well, like you said,
protein shakes, yeah.
Vitamins.
Because I'm telling you, there really is something about chewing. So do like a liquid smoothie, blend everything, blend meat and suck it in a straw and tell me how much fun you're having. But
Before people had to do that in the hospital, they love the meat, and it's so sad.
yes.
When I was younger, the longest fast I've ever done, just water, was 3 days.
Yeah.
But I mean, as I grew older, I can't do the same thing. I mean, my body just doesn't allow it.
Yeah.
I've done some different things. One year I did 1 day a week, and it would be from 5 o'clock on Sunday evening till 5 o'clock on Monday evening. And I did it every week for maybe not a year, but quite a few months.
Yeah.
And then 1 year I did, I would fast until I would not eat anything until after 5 or 6 o'clock. But
Yeah.
every day I ate that evening, but I didn't eat all day long.
And that's a good suggestion too. Intermittent fasting, like whether you want to fast like a 16-8 where you don't eat for 16 hours and you only eat in an 8-hour window, or maybe even do something like what's a 12-12, a 14-10. There's all different kinds of intermittent fasting, and literally just blocking off, like say you're someone who loves breakfast, then choose to block off the breakfast and only have dinner or something like that. And I don't know, but I really like, I just say there's no rules. Try to stay away from the rules, and remember Isaiah 58. It's not about how you fast, it's about why you're fasting. It's about your heart in it, and the Lord knows your heart, and he knows what's a sacrifice to you. And like what's a sacrifice to one person is not a sacrifice to another person. And I feel like my fasting, which is one thing that like I really don't want people to think that they have to fast like I do, because I feel like my fasting is so strong, because I mean I've spent a lifetime. I mean, I used to be anorexic. Like I used to have an eating disorder, and I had to break free of that. And then I went on keto, and then that completely ruined my body and stuff like that. So it's like I've lived a lifetime of fasting, I guess, a lifetime of food being a control factor for me. And so to be able to not, like, that's the other thing, like within the 21-day fast was a lot of those thoughts coming back into my mind and me having to fight that battle all over again and stuff. So those things that like you thought, oh my goodness, that's the whole thing. This fast was about breaking down everything I was secure in except for him. So I was like so secure and I'm never gonna go down that path again. And then I found myself, on day 10 weighing myself and going, oh, wait a second, why am I doing this? So anyways, it is 7:45, you guys. So I'm going to let you all go. And I hope this blessed you. I hope it made sense. And if you have any questions, feel free to message the group or me or Ruthie or anybody. And it was fun.